Good afternoon, welcome back. This is Saima. If you haven't met me before, in today's video I'm going to talk about working in the NHS comes with so many responsibility for nurses, and the responsibilities that you need to be mindful of if you are working, if you are on duty. What are the things that you need to remember, and always bear in mind, if something happens, it'll be on your head. Okay, so this is all we are going to talk about in this video. If you're new to this channel, I provide information about UK nursing, about healthcare support workers, NHS system, and also everything around me. So stay tuned, consider subscribing if these topics interest you by any chance. Thank you so much for watching my video. So the first and foremost thing I want to talk about is patient privacy and confidentiality. So in terms of privacy, keeping the patient information private, giving patient privacy in terms of if you are providing personal care, or if you're giving medications, or if you are doing any procedure, keep it private. Provide them privacy by drawing the curtains, asking their permission, respect their decision, and respect what they're saying. And also confidentiality, there are different ways that you need to maintain confidentiality. The first thing is, if someone is ringing about any patient, you need to know whether you can disclose that information or not. Okay, if they're asking about the diagnosis of the patient, or if they're asking about the hospital stay of the patient, the first thing you need to see is whether they are the family members or not. Even though sometimes they are family members, but they don't have the power of attorney, or they have safeguarding concerns, the patient has raised safeguarding concerns about that person. So when taking handover, you need to know if there are any safeguarding concerns, or if there is any password, because not most of the times, but sometimes the sharing the patient information is confidential, and it's also password protected. So sometimes the families say that you cannot, please don't disclose any information with any other than family members, or please don't disclose any information with any other member of the family or relative or whatever. So then you can create a password. So if someone rings from their family and they ask about the condition of that patient, so you can ask them what is the password. So if they tell you the right password, then you can disclose the information. But if they don't know about the password, or they're saying that what is that password or whatever, so obviously you're not going to tell any information. So that's the patient, in terms of patient, like their information, sharing their information is confidential. So other thing, if you're not sharing any information with anybody, you are aware that your patient has password protection, you are aware who is the next of kin of the patient, and whether they have the power of attorney or not. Mostly, even if they don't have the power of attorney, you don't have to do anything with it. If they are the next of kin and there is no safeguarding concern or any other issue, you can share the information. You don't need to look for the power of attorney, because sometimes maybe they only have one next of kin. And other than that, when you're in the ward, sometimes if you leave the computer open and your patient's information is there, you are still breaching their confidentiality. You're still breaching the rule. If anyone pass by, they can read the information about them, because the screen is a little bit big, isn't it? So if you leave it open and it's your login, you are breaching the confidentiality of the patient. Yeah. The second thing is, if you are reading the medical notes of the patient, you just left them on the table opened, and someone came, they saw it, it can be a problem. And also, if especially if there was a password, or you were told not to share information, but you will say that I didn't share with anything, but because all of us are busy, so sometimes it happens that you leave the file open and someone came and they saw the information, or they read the information, whether it was related to them or not, we didn't maintain the confidentiality. The other thing is, if someone comes to assess your patient, whether it's a doctor, nurse, any other specialist, or any person from the care homes, nursing home, anywhere from anywhere they come to assess your patient, you need to check their ID. Okay, don't hesitate to ask them, do you have your ID on you? And if they can't show you the ID, you can tell them, please, I need to see your ID. You can't see my patient's medical notes if you don't have an ID. And sometimes if they're from the same organization, like that the organization you are working in, you can search about them on your hospital internet page. Okay, if they tell you that they came from for example St. Thomas Hospital, so you can go on Google and check in their directory if that person is working there, if that person is there in the hospital internet page. So if it's there and they don't have their ID, you can still allow them if you see them on the hospital page. Okay, but if they are working in the same organization as you are, you can check in on your internet page. You will be able to find them if they don't have their ID. Okay, and also the visitors, yeah, so you need to be mindful. If anybody comes to see your patient, you need to ask them who you're here for, what's your name, are you the next of kin, and then you can if everything is okay, there is no safeguarding concerns, there is no problems, if everything is okay, you can let them see the patient. But in case you find that the patient is not happy to see that person, or there is safeguarding against this person, should I let him see the patient? If you're not sure, speak to your in charge or speak to your manager, whoever is available at that time. Okay, and one more thing I want to say is on the phone. So we have discussed about in person, we have discussed about the medical notes, the system, and also I'm going to talk you through the phone. So if someone is calling about someone, for example, the receptionist is busy or nurse in charge is busy, there's no one to answer the call, and you are there, phone is ringing, you'll just answer it, and then someone asks about how is Saima doing today, can you give me a little bit more information, is she okay? So before you say yes, because we are very busy, so we'll just say yeah, she's fine. No, you're not going to say that. Even though patient is fine, there's nothing wrong with the patient, still you are not going to tell that they are okay before you confirm the details of the person who's calling. So you can ask them, who is it on the line, whom am I speaking to, and how are you related to the patient, can you give me your full name? So meanwhile you're getting the information, you can log into the system and read about it, or you can also put them on hold and check the information that you required. Before checking the information, you don't need to say anything, you don't need to share any confidential information about the patient, whether it's just that she's fine. Sometimes people, they'll just call you and say, oh, is Miss Lynn still in the hospital? And then you'll see on the system, yeah, she's in the hospital. No, gone. No, hold on, you need to be very, very careful. It's not that easy as we come from back home, because we are all the relatives, anyone can visit, no issue at all. But here the situation is different. The patient confidentiality, patient safeguarding concerns, sometimes they go through abuse or any other issue, or they are patient of like a suicidal ideation, or if they see that person, it will trigger their situation. So just be very, very careful what you do. Okay, so that was privacy and confidentiality all alone. Also, sometimes there is one more point I want to highlight. Sometimes the relatives, they come and they ask you, oh, can I see the medical notes of the patient? So they cannot just see the medical notes of the patient itself they can see, but if they need any copies, or if they want a record, they cannot ask you. I mean, they can ask through a system, because there is a system, patient record, or they can log into their NHS app and they can see it from there. But you at that point in the ward, in the department, you are not allowed to give them a copy. So what is that? There is a name, there is a special name for requesting or request medical notes. I think it's something like that, requesting medical notes. So when they go home, or you can inform your receptionist that they are looking for, they want a copy of the medical notes, but the patient needs to request it on the system. They need to request it online. So it will go through a proper process. So you are not giving them a copy. I forgot the exact name of that system. So patient can request it online. It's like, it sounds like requesting medical or something like that, but it's not exact name as I'm saying. So they request it, and then they can get a copy of patient self record, so they can get a copy for themselves. But you in the hospital, you are not giving them a copy. You can inform your receptionist, you can inform whoever you need to inform, but you are not giving them the copy. But if they want to see the record, the patient want to see the record, they can see, but not the family, not the relatives or anybody like that, unless they are the next of kin. Okay, but if they want to keep the records, then they need to request it online. The second thing I want to highlight is about the visitors. Yes, I said earlier, so if they are coming to see the patient, not only the relatives, sometimes the security, they come in like normal clothes, they pass by, or they check around to see if you kept the treatment, if you kept the treatment room closed, or if you kept the fire door closed. So they just check randomly and see if there is any problem in your department. So even if it's security, like they will be wearing normal clothes, so you shouldn't be letting them in. You need to ask who you are, why you here for, why are you here, do you need anything, are you looking for anybody, or something like that. Okay, because you need to intervene. You can't just let them go where they're going, because maybe they are going to prohibited area or anything, like they can't enter. If they are in normal clothes, they can't enter in the treatment room, or they can't enter in the ward. Okay, because even the relatives, when they come, you ask them. So if you see somebody there, nobody's there to attend, most of the time patient just walk in, the relatives just walk in before, because receptionists usually they stay there till 4 o'clock mostly, or 3 o'clock. So after that there is no receptionist. So if someone let them in the ward, because every area is password is ID protected, so if someone let them in and they came in the ward, and they were asking, like they didn't ask you anything, they just stood there, or they just walking around, you need to intervene. You need to ask what are they doing there and what they need. Okay, because it is very, very important. It could be any other person as well, it could be dangerous as well. So yeah, before it gets too late, ask them right away. One more thing I want to say is, if the relatives come and they tell you, oh, can I take patient outside for a coffee or for tea or something like that, so you need to confirm as well patient the relative's identity. And also for your personal record, write it down. Write down patient went outside with this relative, named this person. Okay, it's just for your record. If you don't want to record in the patient notes, it's okay, just write it for yourself, because in case something happens and they ask you, for example, if patient like fell, or if they come back, they were drunk, or they were like they had some sort of drugs or something like that, so you just need to be careful. Yeah, write it down, write down the name of the person. You can also enter in the patient notes that patient went down with this relative at this time. Okay, outside of the ward. It will save you in the long run. And if nothing happens, well and good, but if something happens, you will have the record that what happened, who patient went with, and then what was the scenario, and why did you let go. If they were under dolls, you are not allowed to. Dolls is like deprivation of liberty and safeguarding, so you are not allowed to let them go if they are under dolls. But if they are like fair enough, they have the mental capacity to make the decision to go with the relative, and they can walk around, or even if the relative is taking them on the wheelchair, it will be relative's responsibility. But again, the first thing that I mentioned, you need to check there was no safeguarding against that person who's taking them. There is no issue for you sending that patient with that relative. Yeah, so just be very, very careful with everything, guys. It's not that simple. It's not the medical items. There are other so many things that you need to be careful about. And it roams around, like everything is around patient safety and safety of others, safety of yourself, your colleagues, and safety of everybody. So a few days ago it happened that I think we will go off the topic, but I want to highlight is one of the patients, she tried to stab someone with a fork. So you just need to be careful, keep a safe distance. Every time you give medicines, every time you give checkups, or you're providing personal care, just be mindful of your surroundings. Look on the patient table if there is anything that shouldn't be there. A pair of scissors, sometimes it's part of our stationery, or healthcare support workers, sometimes they need the scissors to cut the knickers or something like that, and they left it on the patient table. It could be very, very dangerous. So there was a fork on the table. Patient took the fork and then tried to stab the staff in the head. Okay, patient was under dose. So always I would say, like, keep a safe distance before, even though you know the patient is okay, patient is under dose, but she's okay, she doesn't have any problem, she's not causing any trouble, she's not aggressive, still keep a safe distance. You never know. Okay, so that's all for today's video. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who watch my videos, and a very nice season currently going on. I wanted to make a short video about the Christmas season here and the sales going around, but I'll do so as soon as I can. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I'll see you soon in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.